Jamaine Ortiz came in with a game plan, a very good game plan for a fighter like Teofimo Lopez. The problem is, this game plan was a very boring fight. Honestly, I thought it was a robbery.
I too thought that he had lost. And I think Theo, deep down in himself, thought that he lost too. Yeah, man, I just think he has to go back to the drawing board. I don't think he's ready for Crawford.
Devin Haney's making these big fights happen. You know, he fought Pro Grace. Ryan Garcia hasn't really done that, and yet they give him so much props. They say it's a 50-50 fight. In my opinion, I think this is a mismatch. Devin Haney's going to wipe the floor with Ryan Garcia. He's not going to stop him, but he's going to outbox him every single round. And people are going to say, oh, it was an easy fight because look at this. Devin Haney, he was obviously the better fighter. You know, he made it look easy. Yada, yada. Ryan Garcia's not even that good. So then they're going to give shit to Devin Haney for making it look easy. The same way they were giving him shit for making it look easy against Pro Grace. You know, do you think a fight between Salt Papi against Deji is a lot closer than people think?
We might receive a lot of hate for this, but I don't think Deji is that good. I think he is one of the fighters that is most overhyped without any real substance. Salt Papi has been put.
Welcome back to another episode of the Last Round Podcast, where we go over traditional boxing to influencer boxing and everything in between. In this week's game plan, we'll be going over Teofimo Lopez's win, or controversial win, over Jamaine Ortiz, as well as some of the influencer side with the whole MisFits lightweight tournament, and lastly, Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia. But before we start the video, make sure to like and subscribe, and be sure to join our Discord, guys, okay? It's the first link in the description down below. But I think we're ready to start the podcast. So first item in the agenda, Teofimo Lopez controversial win over Jamaine Ortiz. Thoughts about this fight?
Yeah, this is very, very controversial, I think. You know, on a Thursday, kind of weird. So I think it's a bad premonition now that on Thursday fights are just going to be super boring. You know, Jamaine Ortiz came in with a game plan. I think actually a very good game plan for a fighter like Teofimo Lopez, and he stuck to it all 12 rounds. But the problem is, this game plan was a very boring fight. You know, it was on the toes, no real risking anything against Teofimo Lopez, and the fans weren't happy. You know, the fans were not happy about Jamaine Ortiz's game plan. But yeah, I mean, I thought honestly, I thought it was a robbery. Yeah, me personally, yeah.
I think a lot of people, it was actually divided online how people were saying it was a robbery. Some people were saying no.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I do believe it was a robbery. What about you, Rudo?
The great showman disappointed greatly. I was expecting a spectacular performance. Last week we discussed a little bit, and I wasn't expecting him to get established, but I was definitely expecting him to kind of show out, especially because he was calling Crawford. He just kept referring to himself as a legend in the making already. No. With this performance, very poor performance against a guy who he theoretically should have looked decent, I guess. And no, the plans definitely were ruined. I too thought that he had lost. And I think Theo, deep down in himself, thought that he lost too. Like, he was crying right when the scorecards were announced. So, yeah, man, I just think he has to go back to the drawing board. I don't think he's ready for Crawford. I don't think he's ready for for sure Crawford. He's not ready for Crawford. You know, I think Crawford has the necessary skills to just make him look very, very much average.
Yeah, it was a very disappointing performance, and I think one part of it is because of Ortiz's game plan. I mean, their team really crafted a game plan specifically for Teofimo Lopez because Jamaine Ortiz doesn't normally fight like this. He fought very boring, fought very on his toes, very cautious, and it's because of Teofimo Lopez. He's a very dangerous fighter, but it seems he has a weakness. It seems that if you box him like Sander Martin, like Jamaine Ortiz, he struggles to really cut the ring off. He struggles to land punches. He struggles to win decisively. And I think Ortiz's team saw that fight with Sander Martin and took that blueprint and applied it very well. I mean, Teofimo Lopez could not get his shots off. And he's one of those guys that he needs to get his shots off. You know, I think for Teofimo, he needs like fighters to fight him. And if the fighter doesn't want to fight him, the fighter is like on his toes, then he struggles to like get going. He struggles to really know what to do. Struggles with cutting corners. Struggles with doing all this sort of stuff. So yeah, Ortiz did a very good job. Honestly, I think a lot of people are criticizing him. You know, they're saying he was running. What do you guys think about? Was he running? I don't think so.
I think it's called the sweet science. It's called the sweet science for a reason.
Sweet science of boxing.
Yeah, the sweet science of boxing.
I agree. I think it actually was more of boxing, because they're referencing the boxing community is referencing the Shakur fight against Edwin de los Santos. And they're saying that because, you know, it was boring. They're saying Ortiz was running. I think there was a difference. I think Shakur Stevenson was running. He barely landed any punches, barely threw anything. He was just trying not to get hit. What Ortiz was trying to do is bait Lopez into overextending and then punishing him. At least he was throwing a bit more. At least he was actually... His game plan wasn't just to run. His game plan was to run, get Lopez in a bad position, and then punish him for it. And Lopez wouldn't throw that much punches, so that's why there was a lot of running.
Well, I agree. I mean, you know how boxing fans are. You know, if you're not in there throwing hands or going to war or trying to, you know, kill each other, then I mean, anything besides that, they don't really care about it. Especially if you're going to give a performance like Shakur did, or like Jamaine Ortiz, you know, there's always going to be a lot of criticism for fighting that way. But I do agree. I think it was the sweet science. I think the game plan that they did, like you mentioned, was the perfect game plan. And I mean, if you look at any other Jamaine Ortiz fight, he doesn't even fight like that. He's always, you know, trying to walk you down, like the way he did against Lomachenko, or he's a fighter who relies a lot on his combinations. And he did nothing. He didn't do any of that. There were instances where he did try go forward and apply the pressure on Lopez, but that was only when Lopez would allow it, you know, because Lopez didn't know what to do or was frustrated because Jamaine Ortiz was moving around too much. So he would kind of, you know, walk backwards and try to bait Ortiz to come in. And it was at those moments where Jamaine would actually explode at points. You know, there's moments where he would get Lopez in the corner and throw like a high barrage, a high volume of punches. But regardless of that, I think overall, for how much hype this fight had, you know, especially at Teofimo coming off a very impressive UD win over Josh Taylor last year, it did not fulfill any expectations, and I think it left a lot more questions for Teofimo rather than, you know, answering.
Yeah, definitely, because this fight, I mean, they went all in on Teofimo. I mean, he had a whole circus show. He had his whole entrance. Because he is a superstar, and I think Top Rank is actually trying to build him into like one of the big faces of boxing.
I don't think he's a superstar yet.
Yeah, actually, I'll rephrase.
He's a rising star.
He's a rising star.
Yeah.
And they're trying to make him into a superstar. And this was, I think, their first step in trying to do that. And Teofimo just didn't look that good. And it's hard because, like, I think, yeah, a lot of people are giving shit to Ortiz, but what Ortiz did was smart. Teofimo Lopez, if Jamaine Ortiz would have fought Teofimo Lopez like he fought, I don't know, Adorno or Lomachenko, he would have probably gotten stopped. You're not going to beat a guy like Teofimo Lopez going forward, fighting his fight. That's his skill set. That's his bread and butter. I mean, Teofimo Lopez, if we look at that Josh Taylor fight, he is a great fighter if you try to fight him. But if you don't try to fight him, if you try to counter him and run around, you know, run circles around him, then he looks average. Then he looks ordinary. I think what Ortiz gave him the best chance at winning the fight instead of, you know, going head to head against a guy like Teofimo Lopez.
Yeah, and I think Mike Tyson said it the best. This is a thinking man's game. Like Ortiz's team crafted I wouldn't say perfect, but they crafted just almost a less perfect, but they crafted like a very perfect. Yeah. They crafted a very good game plan, and they stuck to it just about all night. Typically, we said it before, Ortiz does tend to kind of gas out on the later rounds. He looked pretty well intact up until maybe like the last 2 rounds when Lopez's dad was like, "Hey, bro, hey son, you gotta press the action."
Yeah, and he was mad because every single time they show him, he had a piece of clothing taken out.
First it was the whole hat, the glasses, and then like after the 4th round, no glasses, and then after like the 8th round, no hat.
Yeah. That's how you know. Actually, going back to what you said, that Teofimo and his team didn't think he was winning the fight.
No.
Like
They're frustrated.
They were worried, especially his father. His father was like, "Hey, you got to get in this fight, man, because you're not doing anything, and Ortiz is outboxing you." Yeah, it was so yeah.
Look, and it goes back to the thing, like Ortiz isn't even a southpaw. I believe this is the first time I've seen him fight as a southpaw. He's an orthodox fighter. We fought Loma as a right hand, as an orthodox within the orthodox style. Joseph Adorno orthodox style. When he fought on the Jake Paul undercard, I can't remember who he fought. He also fought as an orthodox style.
He just an orthodox.
Jamal Herring.
Jamal Herring, he also fought him as an orthodox, but no, it was someone else. I can't remember. Yeah, that was the first time I heard of him.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, going back to what Mike Tyson did, this is a thinking man's game. Like, they did the best that they could, and I truly believe that he won. Like, he really did what boxing is all about. The sweet signs, hit and not get hit, and he did that perfectly. Yes, there are some moments you can draw some comparisons to the Shakur fight in the aspect of it was boring or it wasn't pleasing to the casuals, but he did what he had to do. I can't remember the CompuBox stats off the top of my head, but he looked like he was landing the more shots, the more cleaner shots for sure. Yeah, they weren't hard, but he was landing what appeared to be more than Lopez. So
yeah, I mean, I think the hate on Ortiz is a bit unwarranted. A lot of people are saying that you can't win a championship running, and partly it's true. Okay, so I think that as a challenger, you do have to take the belt away from the champion. The champion does have a home field advantage because he is a champion. So you are the challenger. I think you do have to maybe push a little bit more to win the belt. I agree with that. However, I think that Ortiz was outboxing Lopez. I mean, Lopez, they say Lopez was going forward. He was the aggressor the whole night.
Ring generalship or whatever.
Generalship. But he wasn't doing anything with it. So I don't think it should really count as points being the aggressor if you can't capitalize off of that. And especially if the guy who's running around is doing better than you and outboxing you. I don't think it should count.
Yeah.
Well, I searched up the whole punching specs. Yeah, the CompuBox numbers for the fight. Lopez, he threw 364 punches and landed 78.
Yeah, that's not good.
While Ortiz threw 409 and landed 80. So these are very low numbers for a 12-rounder.
If I remember correctly, De Los Santos landed 40 out of like 300 and something. So,
and most of them were what, like jabs?
Yeah. Most of them were just like grazing. Like they weren't even like,
Yeah, and no single round did Jamaine Ortiz
land double digits.
Yeah, besides the final round where he landed 15. And both of them were the most active in that 15. Final round. But that's my issue. You know what? Lopez, he wants to, many consider him to be an elite. I still consider him to be an elite fighter, especially at 140. He's one of the champs there. But he showed a lot of flaws and a lot of mistakes or a lot of, just gaps in his game that a fighter like Devin Haney, Matias, could capitalize on him because for some reason, for some reason, Teofimo Lopez does not really use the jab. He relies heavily on using, the straight right or moving or using his athleticism, his
instincts, his reflexes.
Because they're elite. He's a really twitchy fighter. He relies a lot on that. But that didn't really help him in this fight. He struggled a lot with Jamaine Ortiz. His movements, he didn't know how to cut off the ring. And if you're an elite fighter fighting at that top level, you should know how to adjust your game and especially like cutting the corners or cutting the ring off, because Ortiz would just exit out of the right the entire time and Teofimo just couldn't get it. He just couldn't understand. And I think that's a big issue, especially if you're going to fight, if you want a big fight against a big name like Devin Haney would just, if based on what I saw, Devin Haney would run circles around him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think now. What are your guys' thoughts about this? I think there's a blueprint to beat Teofimo Lopez now. I mean, it's clear now. Sander Martin, Jamaine Ortiz, they both fought kind of the same way against Lopez.
Yeah.
I think the game plan to beat Lopez is just not engage with him, punish him on the counterattacks, do lateral movements, a lot of movements, and Lopez struggles with that. He struggles with cutting off corners. He struggles with a lot with boxers being on their toes and not engaging with them. So I think a fight with Devin Haney would not. I don't think it would fare out that well because styles make fights at the end of the day, and Devin Haney's style is the kryptonite of Teofimo Lopez.
Do you think the kryptonite is only when the opponent is a southpaw?
I don't believe so. I think it's mainly the style. I think southpaw adds another element to that style. But if you take the southpaw away, I still think Teofimo Lopez would struggle. You know, I think it makes it even harder. But if you still take it away, I mean, he still struggle even if he was orthodox.
Yeah, it's true. Basically, you know, Sander Martin and Ortiz, they would kind of like not. What would you say? Like, just continue to move around. And then once they felt like Lopez was just kind of following them, you know, that's when they would, you know, throw a combination or kind of capitalize or whatever. And then they would continue to, again, be on the move because then Lopez would be like, oh, damn, I just got caught or whatever. Now I got to get my leg back.
Especially not Ortiz.
Martin?
Especially Sander Martin, yeah.
Yeah, he did that pretty good.
Sander Martin, he would punish Lopez when Lopez would get frustrated. And Lopez would lunge in, he'd punish him with that hook, and that's what knocked him down. Yeah. So I think Lopez also starts getting frustrated, and he starts overextending, overreaching, and a pure technical boxer like Sander Martin made him pay for it. Yeah.
And he overreached with what? The right.
Yeah,
with the right. He overreached the right.
No jabs. He just wants to hit him with that right hand. And he opened for a counter.
The hook is key to beating. Yeah. But the thing is, Teofimo already has a blueprint to beating him. And that was Kambosos. Kambosos already beat him, man. Come on.
Yeah, that was. That was a horrible fight.
That was a terrible fight. But I think this all falls back down to Teofimo because we mentioned this earlier, and it's always been the question with him. He's a very inconsistent fighter in the aspect, he had the very big upset against Lomachenko. He put up his best performance on that fight. Then he had a very big upset loss against George Kambosos. And then he went up to 140 and fought Pedro Campa, where he just demolished him easily because Pedro Campa's not at that level. But then he fought Sander Martin, and then people believe that he lost that fight too. And then he went off and fought Josh Taylor and put up a great performance against him. And then now he's back down to this type of performance. So what does that tell you about Teofimo Lopez? Is he a fighter that just struggles with keeping up with the momentum? Because some fighters, like Devin Haney, for example, they seem to be getting better and better, and they seem to be learning from their mistakes. Like, when was the last time you saw Devin Haney get rocked or look shaky or kind of just look bad in the ring? It's been a while since I last seen them do any type of mistakes in the ring.
I'd say since Linares.
That was a while ago, yeah. Meanwhile, you look at Teofimo, and the errors or the mistakes that he keeps on committing are still happen to be there. It seems like he just can't fix them. Does that have to do with him, or does it have to do with his team?
I think it's his team. I think they don't work on like his weaknesses? Other aspects. Yes, his weaknesses. They don't work on his weaknesses in his game. He's an amazing offensive fighter. Like if he were fighting like Josh Taylor this past weekend, he would have beaten Josh Taylor again, I believe. I think he was in great shape. I think he trained hard for this fight. I think he did everything right. The problem is I think his team focuses only on his offense. They don't really focus on what he needs to actually work on. And what he needs to work on is the style of, like a boxer style, like a counter-puncher boxer style that uses a lot of lateral movements, that escapes off angles, that counters him when he overreaches. That's the style that he needs to work on. That's the aspect of his game that is lacking. And if he doesn't fix it, there's a lot of top guys at 140 that have that style, and he's not going to be able to get past them.
Apart from Devin Haney, who else has a style like that? At 140.
At 140.
Sander Martin.
Give him the rematch now. Sander Martin, honestly. He could be the world champ right now, but...
Barroso.
But I was going to say the same thing, bro. Barroso. But Lopez, I think he'd beat. Listen, I still think he'd beat like Barroso. Honestly, I still think he'd beat Matias because Matias is going straight at him. That's the fight that he wants.
That's what he likes.
That's where he looks his best.
He does have
He looks his worst when they're running. Subriel Matias is not going to run against him. Subriel Matias is going to go right at him. And although it's very dangerous, that's where Lopez looks his best when his opponent goes at him.
But Matias isn't going to show him any respect, man. He's not going to show him no respect. He's going to go there to hurt him because he has a hatred towards Teofimo.
Yeah, he always calls him out.
He always calls him out. And, well, supposedly there's reports that Matias has a fight sometime in the summer against Liam Paro. And hopefully that fight gets made. Hopefully Matias comes out on top, and then we get maybe a big fight between Teofimo and Matias later on in the year. But I don't know how probable that's going to be.
Yeah, so what's next? I mean, Teofimo Lopez was calling out Crawford. I mean, if he wants Crawford, he can probably get it because he has a big name. But I think Crawford is going to whoop his ass.
He's going to do him dirtier than he did Spence, man. No.
And I think it would be easy, too, because, dude, Crawford just has so many elements to his style. He has so many tricks up his sleeve. Most importantly, he is able to fight as a southpaw, fighting with just lateral movements and stuff like that. Being able to just make his opponent fall asleep. And I don't know where, boom, 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 get him. He has power in both hands as well. So that's... technically is Lopez's kryptonite. So.
Yeah, I don't see Lopez going for Crawford anymore, even though he was calling him out. I don't see that fight being made. But what else? I mean, is he gonna stay at 140? I mean, he's probably gonna stay at 140.
Yeah. Maybe he fights Keyshawn Davis next.
Hell no. yeah. Keyshawn Davis called him out. People that don't know.
Oh, I mean, Keyshawn, he beat the living shit out of Pedraza.
Yeah, he did.
And I mean, but like,
it's to be expected.
And Pedraza was coming off like a three fight loss or draw. He had a draw in between one of those. But yeah, he hasn't won in a while, and he's not the fighter that he once was. And he dropped down to 135, a weight class that he hasn't hit in like 4 years, I believe is what they were saying. So it was very much expected for Keyshawn to win. But I mean, he has a name now and the resume, and I think that's what they really wanted. And he got the fact that he knocked him out or stopped him. So that's even an even bigger win for him, I guess. But yeah, he called out Teofimo Lopez, which was kind of funny. I don't take it serious.
Yeah.
But then he called out Emmanuel Navarrete, El Vaquero. Navarrete supposedly is being mandated to fight for a vacant lightweight title.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't remember which sanctioning body is trying to sanction that fight. But so maybe later on this year we see Navarrete move up to 135. And I mean, he could win a belt there and then challenge some of the 135 big names like Keyshawn, Shakur Stevenson if he ever returns back.
He's retired forever.
If he ever returns back. But so Keyshawn called out a lot of people, or two people, but I don't know. I don't see what Keyshawn does. I know he's not for sure going to get the Teofimo fight.
No.
That's not possible.
I think he's too young. I mean, he has a lot of experience in the amateurs, of course, but the professional game is a different game.
Yeah.
You know, he's still green at this game, and calling out like world champions, veterans who've been doing this for years and have had hard fights. I don't believe he is ready for that. You know, he's definitely showing good signs. He's adapted well to the professional atmosphere, professional, you know, how you fight in the professional. But yeah, he's definitely not ready for any big names like that. And Teofimo, I like how Teofimo entertained it even. Like after the fight, he started talking shit, and I was like, why?
He was like, you want this? You want this? You gotta get one before you fight me.
Yeah. I was like, and I don't think Teofimo took it serious either.
No, he's not. He won't.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have, he's just barely green, is what you said. He's just barely getting his the wheels really turning and stuff like that. I mean, he definitely has still a lot more to go. Yeah, he needs to have at least a belt in order to kind of, or even like be within the top 10 contenders, which I don't think he is. Stuff like that. Plus, there's other 135 pounders that I think will easily beat him. Andy Cruz, for sure. Yeah, I think he would beat him.
Andy Cruz is even newer to this than Keyshawn Davis. Andy Cruz has like 4 fights? 3?
3?
Yeah,
2? Something like
but
that.
he's looked impressive.
Oh my God,
he's looked crazy. I can't lie. Andy Cruz
there's no denying.
We'll see. He hasn't fought anybody. Man.
But based on this fight, based on Teofimo's performance and how this fight went, what are your guys' rankings for the champions at 140? Who's your number one? Because for me personally, my number one has to be Subriel Matias.
I knew you were gonna say
I love Matias. I love him. I love his style. So next up, I have Devin Haney, followed by Teofimo, and then last I got Rolly Romero. What about you guys?
Okay, so now I used to have Teofimo Lopez as number one, but after this fight, I think Haney's just his kryptonite. So I have to go Haney number one. I think he's the best champion or the strongest champion at 140. And then I got Teofimo Lopez. Then I got Subriel Matias. And lastly, sadly, I have Rolly.
Well, tough love.
Yeah. I love Rolly though.
yeah, the people's champ for sure. I think I would have to say Haney. Lopez and Matias. I think it's kind of like that. It could be 2 or 3 depending on I think it just kind of depends on how people see it. But
how do you see it? How do I see it?
Right now, I'm going to have to put Matias as second, Lopez third, and then Rolly, the people's champ, fourth.
I think we're on agreement. Rolly is the
Rolly is the worst.
Not the worst.
He's the people's champ.
He's the weakest.
He's the weakest.
Nah, actually, I don't like that fraud. I want Barroso.
Yeah. Barroso would be number one.
He's the real champ at 140.
Yeah, but speaking of Haney, we finally got an announcement for one of his fights. He is going to be fighting the one, the only Queen Ryan Garcia.
Bruh.
Yeah. So he's going to be fighting Ryan Garcia April 20th. Finally official after going back and forth on Twitter after, all these weird negotiations, and then it ended. We finally got the fight signed, dated. Eddie Hearn came out with it. The Zone, all of them came out with it. I think it's a great fight. What do you guys thought about that?
I have a bone to pick.
Uh-oh.
Not with Devin Haney or Ryan Garcia. I have a bone to pick with the fans. Okay. Because I've been seeing a lot, since this build up and then finally being announced. People are saying, Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, 50-50 fight. They fought 6 times in amateurs. They're both 3-3. They have history. Devin Haney, he's shown to be chinny. Ryan Garcia, has a point to prove. Blah blah. They're giving it big props. But then again, those same fans that are giving this fight, big props are the same ones that were shitting on Gervonta Davis for taking that fight. They're saying, Ryan Garcia, he's just an overhyped prospect. He's not even a champion. He's done nothing in his career. Blah blah blah. They're saying it was a cherry pick. Mm-hmm. Why is the energy where's the energy, like that same energy you guys had for Gervonta, for Devin Haney? Like, come on, guys. Like, there's obviously some type of bias towards.
They switched up.
Or fans don't know what to think about fights. They're saying, they're making the best fights happen. But then again, Ryan Garcia has lost against Gervonta Davis, beat Duarte, and now he's fighting Devin Haney. So like, are the best fights happening, or just the big names happening? Like, this is not the best fight in boxing.
Yeah, it's not the best fight in boxing, but I think it's just what you said. It's the biggest names in boxing, and it's the names that the people are more interested in seeing than like Matias. Matias doesn't really have a big name. I'd love to see it because I'm really into boxing. But the people who aren't really into boxing, they might not know who Matias is. They might not know who Barroso is.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. No. But they know who Ryan Garcia is, and that's I think that's the perception, the people's perception when they hear, I want to see the big fights happen. They want to see Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney. They want to see Ryan Garcia, Tank versus Shakur. You know what I'm saying? All these, they want to see the big names fight amongst each other, not necessarily the best names fight amongst each other.
Well, that's the issue then, because Ryan Garcia, credits to him. He did his thing in the amateurs, and he's done his thing, I guess, in the professional. And the fact that he's getting his money with just nothing but respect. But then again, he has not won a single championship. Mm-hmm. Has not fought any former champion besides Gervonta Davis. How come he deserves such a... I don't know. It blows my mind that a fighter, who's essentially still a prospect, mm-hmm. or not a prospect, contender. A contender. He's a contender, but yet he's probably the most luxurious, most richest contender I think I've ever seen in boxing, because he hasn't fought any big names. Like, at least Devin Haney, he went and fought Cambosis in his own backyard, not once but twice. He's fought former champions in Jojo Diaz and Linares and I guess Gamboa. He fought Lomachenko, controversial, but yeah, he still fought him. Devin Haney's making these big fights happen. You know, he fought Prograis when Prograis was still champion. Ryan Garcia hasn't really done that, and yet they give him so much props. They say it's a 50-50 fight. In my opinion, I think this is a mismatch. I think it's a big mismatch. I think Devin Haney's going to wipe the floor with Ryan Garcia. He's not going to stop him, but he's going to outbox him every single round. And I think that's what's going to happen. And then people are going to say, oh, it was an easy fight because look at this. Devin Haney, he was obviously the better fighter. You know, he made it look easy. Yada, yada. Ryan Garcia's not even that good. So then they're going to give shit to Devin Haney for making it look easy. The same way they were giving him shit for making it look easy against Prograis. You know, it's going to be like that. I'm already calling it right now.
Yeah, one thing I can agree is I think Devin Haney's going to whoop Ryan Garcia. I think he's going to outbox him.
Yeah, I think he's going to outbox him. I mean, this is an early prediction, but I'm definitely favoring heavy Haney. I mean, Haney has the better resume. He has fought a lot more world champions, ex-world champions, and stuff like that. I think he's taken a lot more riskier fights earlier in his career and stuff like that. Yes, you can say, I think the perception of the people saying it's a 50-50 fight because they fought 6 times in the amateurs, 3 versus 3, you know, 3 wins. But it's just that, you know, the way their professional careers have gone, you know, Haney has just done a better job, I think. You know, I think Ryan Garcia Oscar has done a pretty good job of somewhat protecting Ryan, getting him the correct fights and stuff like that. And yeah, I don't think he's really ready for Haney. I don't think he's ever fought anyone within the pro career as someone like Haney.
No, well, I mean, he's fought Tank. He lost to him.
But their styles are different.
Their styles are different, but it's still like Tank. We're talking about like elites. Ryan Garcia has fought an elite. Tank Davis, and he got his ass kicked. One still
elite.
Fought him.
Yeah, and it's only been one elite. At least Haney has fought a lot more. So.
Yeah, I understand, and I understand what you're saying. I think, yeah. So, what do you think that more people should be criticizing Ryan Garcia, or like, are you upset that they're giving him too much credit? You think he doesn't deserve the credit?
Oh, I think No, I don't think the fighters should be criticized. I think they should criticize themselves because they're the fans who are saying that Gervonta Davis cherry picked Ryan Garcia, but then again, these are the same fans who are saying, "Oh, this is a great fight." So like, which one? I think they're just hypocrites. Most fans, I think they're just being hypocrites. That they think that this fight is such a big fight, but yet when Gervonta Davis fought Ryan Garcia, it was a cherry pick. It was a big mismatch, you know, because Ryan Garcia, who has he fought? You know, he has no accolades in his name, so. I believe this is not the fighter's fault. This is the fans' fault. I just don't like the fans sometimes. You know, that's a bone I have to pick with them. Sometimes they be saying things, you know, and then they be saying other things the next day. It's always this and that.
There's a term for them, and I think it's called casuals. It's just people who just don't understand, who just don't follow the sport like that. And I, for one, going back to the question, I think it's good overall for boxing because, you know, Ryan Garcia has just an enormous following, and, you know, I think most of them, or a lot of them, are just really just casuals and stuff like that. I think a lot of people just follow him because of the shoe sign challenge and stuff like that on TikTok and stuff. So, yeah, I think that's what it is. But at the end of the day, yes, we can criticize it. We can say that we don't think it's going to be a 50-50 fight. We could say maybe it's more of a mismatch. Maybe Haney does have the upper hand. But I think it's still good for boxing.
Well, and this is another thing. I understand, yeah, it's popularity. Ryan Garcia does have a big name. However, I'm not going to deny that Ryan Garcia is a dangerous fighter. I still believe that Ryan Garcia, of the new generation of fighters that are coming up, at 140, 135. Yeah. He is one of the best ones. He's not the best of the best, but I think I heard this recently about Ryan Garcia. He's kind of like Wilder. He's a one-trick pony. He's not really that good skill-wise, but he's dangerous. And Wilder had 10 title defenses. I think Ryan Garcia has the potential to be something like that. A lot of people criticize him. He doesn't have the skills, you know. He relies too heavy on his hook. He relies too heavy on his speed, his power. I understand, and that's true. However, that can take you very far. We've seen with Wilder, that took him all the way to the top, and he reigned for a very long time. So I think with Ryan Garcia, he might be a one-dimensional pony But guess what? That works, and it's also very dangerous. For that he has a chance of knocking out Devin Haney, albeit a small chance. But he does have the power. He does have the speed for it. So Ryan Garcia, he hasn't fought the biggest names. I'm not saying he has, but he's still a very dangerous fighter, and his name in and of itself is a good name, I believe, to have on your resume. I beat Ryan Garcia. He's a dangerous fighter, you know.
I do agree that he's a one-trick pony like Deontay Wilder. I think it's a little different though, because
Why?
Well,
Wilder was a world champion. Yes.
I mean, he was a world champion. I mean, there's a big difference.
Yeah, but Ryan can live up to that. He can.
He's still young.
Yeah, he's still young.
Yeah, he's still young.
Yeah.
But we're also let's look at the weight division that they're at. 135, 140. They're stacked. Okay, they're stacked with a lot of great fighters. The heavyweight division during that time when Deontay Wilder was champion wasn't that stacked. It was kind of vacant. It was pretty boring. People would say it's one of the most boring eras of boxing. You could make the argument that it could possibly be. I think it's a bit different. There's a lot more threats when it comes to Ryan Garcia in the aspect that he just has there's a bigger variety or a big pool of talent. So I don't know. I just don't think that, yes, he has the power. He's shown it. He has that killer hook that he always relies on heavily, but I don't know if it's enough to catapult him to become a world champion. I mean, okay, let me rephrase that. He does have the talent to become a world champion.
Rolly made it.
Okay, but let's be honest. Come on.
Hey, he didn't make it.
He got lucky, bro.
But he made it.
Oh my god, he got lucky.
Shout out to Tony Weeks.
Rolly Romero should not be a world champion. Everyone knows that, but it's just the biggest meme. The world champion Rolly Romero. But no, I mean Ryan Garcia. Okay, yes, he has the potential to become a world champion. But I just the possibility of him becoming a world champion, especially at 140, is very low. And I don't think that this fight against Devin Haney is gonna. It helps him in any case because he's still gonna remain a big underdog, and I still think it's just a huge mismatch.
Yeah.
Overall.
Do you think he should have fought Rolly instead?
Yeah.
Because that's what they were trying to get.
Well, I mean, that's an easier fight.
Fight, and there you go. There's
He
a
could
bigger
become
chance.
a world champion.
Yeah.
Like you could fight Rolly Romero or Devin Haney, and both of them are champions. Which one are you taking?
For the glory, I'm taking Devin Haney. It's for the glory.
For the glory. Okay, yeah, for the glory. If you're like that, but but I mean, come on.
The easier road would definitely, without a doubt, be Rolly.
Which one's bigger money too? Would Rolly be a bigger money than Devin Haney?
That's interesting, actually. I'm not exactly sure.
Because Devin Haney has a bigger name, and this and that. But Rolly Romero, he just makes things so interesting.
I think Rolly would sell it better, but I think there's more hype around the Devin Haney one. So it's a bit hard.
The press conferences would have been lit, but then again, it's just having to build it up.
Well, yeah,
Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, they already established.
Yeah.
If you want to say,
it's hard to say.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say.
It's hard
but
to say.
Well, I would say there's more money with going against Haney for sure. Yeah.
But with
more
Rolly,
guaranteed money.
But with Rolly Romero, you could build up that money. Remember,
you could build it up.
Gervonta Davis and Rolly Romero, they were able to build that up because of how the press conferences were. Imagine how Ryan Garcia. I mean, they have history. They had the whole league sparring, that famous sparring session with Ryan Garcia getting his ass beat by Rolly. They have history, and I know Rolly would have a lot of things to say to Ryan Garcia and vice versa. So those they could build up the money. I don't know. I think it's a good question to ask.
Yeah,
but
really good
I do think Devin Haney is a bigger. I think it'd be more just based on. I mean, Devin Haney made a guaranteed 2.5 against Pro Grace.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, that's good.
He's already a household name. He's already established.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess a little thing to talk about. But so Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, April 20th, I believe.
April 20th, yeah.
I mean, they had their first altercation.
Yeah,
right after it got
so
done.
staged. I'm sorry.
And then Bill Haney
was trying to get in there. Man, you're the trainer. Like, relax. You're not the boxer. The spotlight isn't on you. Let your son do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what you're doing in there. The whole thing just seems staged. The whole thing was just it felt like promotion to me, which is fine. I mean, I don't knock it. They're trying to promote their fight. But I believe they could have done it in a better way. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why Bill is trying to take the spotlight. I don't know. He's always been like that, trying to take the spotlight away. I feel it's like almost every other father and son duo. They're like that too. I draw a similar comparison to Teofimo Lopez Jr. and Sr.
Well,
senior. Yeah.
it's for the money, man. They're trying to get the views in.
Yeah.
It's business. I guess
It's
at the end of the day,
business, you know.
they know how
You can't knock it,
they
but
know
it
how
was kind of
goes.
cringy.
Yeah.
Like I think that's what sums it up. It was, you can't knock it. They're promoting, but it was a bit cringy. They could have done it better.
Well, at least we have another big fight signed for the spring. So we have the Devin Haney Ryan Garcia fight. Then we have perhaps maybe the return of Canelo during May, followed by Inoue versus Luis Neri. Then Tyson Fury or Kambosos versus Lomachenko. Then Tyson Fury against Usyk, and then we have the undisputed showdown between Arthur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol. So we have a really stacked
2024.
first half of 2024 too. That is a very stacked cards in there, and I don't know, it feels weird now because for a while these fights weren't getting made and people were like, bro, this is kind of dead. But I guess thank you Saudi Arabia also. We always say thank you Saudi Arabia, but I mean, come on, we're getting some big fights now. And especially the amount of big fights that we're getting, especially at this barely the first start of the year, is huge. I don't think we've ever really seen much of this in a while, actually.
Yeah, finally they're starting to wake up. I mean, we're getting big fights made, and that's what boxing's all about. At the end of the day, getting big fights made. I think the fans are becoming a lot happier. I know I certainly am. There's a lot of fights that I'm looking forward to, and it's just the first half of the year. We don't know what can cook up in the second half of the year. Yeah.
Well, let's dive in a little bit into the influencer side.
Okay.
Briefly. So last week we talked about the whole MisFits lightweight tournament. And there's still some fights to be announced, but they finally announced them all. So we have 8 fighters competing in this lightweight tournament to challenge Dean once Dean is able to fight again. So they're fighting for the interim belt technically. But so we have our first challenger, which was Waleed Sharks, followed by Joey Knight, who came into the scene after destroying Most Wanted in the last Misfits. The third challenger, we have Yuddy Gang. Fourth one, Lil Kraka. Fifth one, this was a new one, Ace Musa. Then we had number 6, which was a big surprise because people were like, who the hell is this kid? His name is Tasmanian Devil. I had no idea who he was. I had to search him up. I couldn't even find him on YouTube. I don't know his YouTube name, but people were I looked through his Instagram, or not his Instagram, his Twitter or his X profile, and he spoke how he used to be like he's been boxing before. He's boxed before.
Like amateur wise,
I think so. Yeah, and then he got he suffered from depression, and he got morbidly obese. He got but then he cut weight, and now he's competing in this tournament.
What the hell?
So so he's not really very big.
That's a story.
big creator.
Not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. Now he's big, I guess so. Number 7, we have Argentinian King. He is a pretty decently big South American influencer. He's got over 300K followers on Instagram, so he's pretty big. He's gonna bring a new audience towards influencer boxing or Misfits. And then lastly, we have El Donkey Baby Hulk.
Let's go.
Number 8. He's from Street Beefs.
Street Beefs. Yeah.
Those like he's like 5'1" or like 5'2", but he is hench, man. This dude, he looks like a unit, man. He is a unit.
He is a unit, yeah.
So there you go. There's the whole 8-man roster for the interim title for the lightweight Misfits, and the winner gets to challenge Dean. What are you guys' thoughts about this? We talked about it last week, but now that we have the whole card out, you guys have any new change of hearts, any new change of predictions now that you know the full roster?
Probably not, because I don't know that much about the other guys. The guy can say has amateur experience. I mean, a few of them do. Lil Crack, like Yuddy Gang, Yuddy Gang. They all have. Waleed, I think, also has some amateur experience. A lot of them have amateur experience.
Musa also has
Ace Musa. You know what I'm saying? What I'm more interested in is has Mams Taylor said anything about how it's gonna be structured? Like,
he said it's gonna be like not all fights are gonna be
on the same
one
card.
No, they're gonna they're gonna vary.
Okay.
So that's the main thing that was talking.
It's
Yeah,
gonna be a long tournament then.
it is a long tournament. Yeah,
because it's not like Misfits. They be putting like shows like 2-3 months apart.
Yeah.
So we're not gonna figure out like the first stages of it until like I don't know, like pretty well into the second half of 2024.
No, I think we may. Wait, what do you mean?
Like the first, because I mean they're all gonna be matched, so it's gonna be 4 fights actually. Oh, actually, it's not even that much.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it's 4 fights. They probably put 2 fights in a show. So in probably like 3 months we get the. That's not bad actually.
Well, yeah, Mams Taylor also said that I think he already finalized the whole the fight card for the next Misfits, and he's gonna announce details this week. So
well, didn't King Kenny leak a Misfits event
in April? Yeah,
in
at Wembley,
April?
and that's huge.
Yeah,
at Wembley Arena.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
that's gonna be a big one. Yeah.
Maybe they'll put 2 fights there.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But the next one I think is in March.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so Misfits 13, I believe it is. I believe it's gonna be in March, and that's the one that he said he's finished the whole fight card for. So he's gonna start announcing details or maybe even fights for that card. I mean, we're already about to be midway through February, so the event is gonna start coming in, very very quickly.
Yeah,
and we're probably gonna see a fight or two of this tournament in that card. So it's gonna be pretty big. Supposedly it's gonna be in the USA too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, supposedly it's gonna be in the USA.
Usually Misfits doesn't have the greatest US cards.
It's usually, it's
we'll
heavily relied on the UK audience.
The UK.
But so now they have this whole tournament. What are your thoughts, Bruto? You got
I think it's good. I think it's different, but I think it's different, but in a good way. You know how they try to do the survival tag team matchup? That was kind of...
I hate that.
Props to you trying to be creative, Misfits and Mams Taylor, but I think this is the best way to go. I drew comparison. We talked about this last week, but we drew comparisons to the Super 6 series, stuff like that. I think it's something similar, and I think it should work out great. I think it's great for the influencer side of things. It brings another light of fighters, a whole new lineup of fighters in the weight class. You know what I'm saying? I know for the longest time there was only like 4 people that I can think of like a year or 2 ago. Now there's in this tournament 8. So and possibly one might lose, but then that doesn't necessarily mean they could fight later on or whatever. In a future matchup, I guess maybe some of these other guys.
Yeah,
and unlike traditional boxing, they actually make big fights happen like that.
Yeah, I mean we have Salt Papi,
Salt Papi Slim just like that.
And, yeah, but you know what? I like this tournament because look, they are finally released all the fighters, the roster. And I do not recognize 4 of them, right? I do recognize Wally, Juddy Gang, Joey Knight, and Lil Cracker. The other 4 I'm not too familiar with. I guess Baby Hulk, he is a bit more well-known than the other 3. But for example, Tasmanian Devil, no one knew who he was. When they announced it, I looked at the comments because I was like, who is this kid? And then people were like, they put the McGregor meme, like, who the fuck is this guy? Everyone was so confused at who he was. And then he kind of... The kid ended up having he did an interview with Raksu, Ashley Raksu, and they had a whole virtual interview, and then he kind of spoke of what who he was and stuff like that.
Does he have a big following?
I think it was Lesra Gomez on Twitter. Yeah, he kind of he criticized it.
He's a small influencer now.
Yeah, he's the breakout boxing thing. But he put his he put Tasmanian Devil's information. He has 14K on Insta, 6K on YouTube, and 35 on Twitter. And he was kind of criticizing, saying that why is he in here, right? Like, cause
his biggest is X.
His biggest is Instagram.
Oh,
he has 14K. He only has 35. He only had 35 followers.
35?
Yeah.
Oh,
not even like
35K.
No, he only had 35
on X,
on Twitter during this time.
Oh my god!
Yeah. Now he has
wow.
Now he has 356.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he's gone up more, and he probably will keep going up more, especially if he wins. Yeah.
Imagine.
But look, this when Lesra Gomez posted or tweeted this, it gave me an idea kind of what Mams Taylor is trying to do. He's trying to build superstars. Yeah, this guy, he's not known, but if he's able to win and keep on winning and keep on selling, then his stock is going to rise. And Misfits, I think they're trying to just build. They're just trying to. They don't care if you're like a big content creator, which is better for them. But if you're a small content creator, that's fine too, because then they're gonna use their resources to try to build you up and make you a superstar, and that in turn would give them more views and more money. So it pays off at the end for both the fighter and the company, or the promotion, I should say.
They're giving opportunities to these guys. They're giving chances. They're taking risks on these fighters that aren't really that well known, and that's good. Because you might miss a couple, but eventually you're gonna hit that jackpot.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and maybe this kid is the jackpot.
Maybe
who knows?
Maybe he's a dark horse.
He could be.
Maybe he's the next. I don't know. Maybe he's the next. Oh my gosh, I just forgot his name.
Who? Give us a hint.
The Mexico.
Tom Panetta?
I don't know how I forgot his name. I was gonna be, maybe he's the next Panetta, bro.
Panetta? He could be, man. Maybe, man. Maybe. His picture shows up right here. You see it?
Yeah.
Someone just said, I don't know who this is, but bro looks tough.
Come on, man.
Wallahi, he looks tough as hell. But yeah, so I get we have the official lightweight title tournament for the interim belt for Misfits, and winner, like I said, fights Dean the Great. So I'm excited. I can't wait to see how this tournament progresses. I feel like we might get a bunch of upsets in this tournament, because people are, we don't know a lot of these unknown fighters, so maybe they could pull off a little upset on us and kind of ruin our
picks.
Yeah. But for me, I'm still rocking with Lil Cracker. I think Lil Cracker's taking it. Who you rocking with?
I gotta see some of these other guys and stuff like that. See if they have any clips like the Argentine King.
Baby Hulk definitely does.
I do want to see what he's about.
I got
Joey
Baby Hulk.
Knight, I've seen him. What did you say?
I got Baby Hulk.
Baby Hulk. Yeah.
People, people were saying they say he's gonna be the shortest fighter
ever
for the guys on Misfits.
Did you say 5'1"?
I think he's like 5'1" or something. Yeah.
I think I've seen him before.
He's like,
I think I've seen him.
He's
before.
just like stocky.
Yeah, he's short, but that boy probably packs a punch.
I mean, you look at him in the picture right here in the poster, and his neck is wide. I'm just like, he gives me like the Mike Tyson vibe. I mean, he's a tank.
Yeah,
homie's a tank. He's a little tank. But what were you gonna say, Roberto? Sorry.
I mean, yeah, I kind of want to see footage from these other guys. I want to see if the Tasmanian Devil has anything online, any footage or even sparring footage and stuff like that. But I mean, I'm still gonna ride with Little Cracker or Joey Knight.
Wait,
play it safe.
First of all, Dean replied saying, "Where's Ryan or Shakur?"
Fucking Dean, you gotta recover first, man. Yeah.
But no, yeah. So I guess that was a little what we wanted to talk about from the influencer side. There isn't really much that's really been happening.
No.
In the it's been a little slow.
Yeah,
lately.
they haven't announced any like the next event or nothing.
No, besides the King Kenny accidentally leaking
the Wembley.
Yeah, the Wembley. Oh, actually, okay. Before we get off from the influencer side. Vidal Riley, he has this series where he does like the fighters like 1v1s. Like he's done KSI, Jake Paul, Nissan Gibb and Slim. That I forgot what he called the series.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about though. Yeah, he puts them against each other. Yeah.
He did Salt Papi and Deji.
Okay.
And he had it even at the end of the day.
Oh my gosh.
What do you guys think about that? Do you think a fight between Salt Papi against Deji is a lot closer than people think? Or is it, just one-sided towards Deji or Salt Papi?
Listen, man.
I think we're in agreement.
Yeah.
You go on. Yeah, go on.
We might receive a lot of hate for this, but I don't think Deji's that good. I think Deji, his fans overhype him a lot. And they're ride or die, and that's good on him for getting fans like that. But if you really look at his boxing skills, unbiased, if you look at his fights, he doesn't really do anything special. His skills haven't really improved at a fast rate. His gas tank, no real body transformations either. I think he is one of the fighters that is most overhyped without any real substance. Salt Papi has been putting in the work. Salt Papi actually fights big fights. He takes risks, and he's also extremely talented as well. You can see, he puts a lot of work in the gym, and it shows in his fights. His skills improve. A guy like Deji hasn't really done much, hasn't really done anything. I mean, he receives a lot of credit now because of his wins. He beat Fuzi. He beat Swarms. Is that it?
He beat
That's it. I mean, like, cool, good for you. I mean, you got some wins, dope, fantastic. But you're not fighting big name guys. I mean, Fuzi, has he ever beaten anybody? No.
Has he ever won?
No, he's never won Swarms.
Oh, I mean, he beat Alex Wasabi in the
That was a spar. That was a spar. And then he was also like 40 pounds heavier than him, so that's not even fair.
I like how he walked away.
Yeah,
when he dropped
he thought he was like that guy. Like relax.
He looked at the camera, breathing heavy as fuck. Like he was surprised. He's like,
yeah. So that's not a very good name on your resume.
and has Swarms even won?
Swarms, he won against Ryan Taylor, but that was a weird fight.
Yeah.
So I mean, they give him so much credit just because I think he's KSI's brother, and that's about it.
Well, I think they gave him credit just because how he looks. Yeah,
He doesn't even look that good.
No, but like because they're like, oh, look at the way he
doesn't even move that. Okay, yeah, that's right.
Because when he fought, if you look at Deji from the beginning to the fight where he, because the Vinny Hacker one was the one that destroyed him, right?
Yeah.
He looked absolutely terrible. But then if you look from Vinny Hacker, and because after Vinny Hacker he fought Fuzi. And the change, and he looked obviously a lot better. He looked a lot more smoother, and that's what gave him so much hype. The fact that he looked, because I remember the day of the fight or after the fight, people were like, "Oh, he looked like an actual pro boxer." People were just glazing him, and they're saying it's because he looks like a quote unquote pro boxer, which is why I believe they give him a lot of credit.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. The thing is, anyone can look good against Fuzi, man. Like, you can look good against him. I'm sure KSI's skills would look good. It's like KSI. When he fought Joe Weller, he looked amazing.
He did.
He was using his jab. He was keeping his distance. And then once he landed that jab, he'd throw uppercuts and he'd throw his backhand, essentially. That was good. But when he fought against Logan Paul, he looked absolutely horrendous. So I think it's just the level of opposition that you fight. Yeah. If you fight a guy like FuziTube, you're gonna look good because in comparison to him, you just outshine him. But if you fight a guy like Salt Papi, you're gonna get absolutely demolished because Salt Papi actually puts in the work and knows what he's doing inside of the ring.
And that's the thing. People are gonna say, "Oh, but Salt Papi has lost. He lost against Anthony Taylor and he got knocked out by Slim." But then again, Anthony Taylor would whoop. I think he would stop Deji. He'd make him quit.
Yeah.
Slim would stop Deji too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, because I know people are gonna. That's one of the main things they give shit to Salt Papi. They're like, "Oh, you lost. You've lost against Anthony Taylor and you got knocked out by Slim." So what?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the man, he's literally he only had, I believe, he only had 3 fights. I think 3 fights before he went up against Anthony Taylor. Anthony Taylor, a man who's an MMA fighter, who's an actual fighter. He's not a very good one, but he's an actual fighter.
Yeah.
He knows how to fight in an actual fight, or how to just be in the fight.
He has experience.
He has experience, and like none of Deji's opponents have had that experience. Okay, you can say Jake Paul, but that was Jake Paul when Jake Paul was also debuting.
I was about to say that's his first fight, isn't it?
It was his first fight, yeah. So people are gonna say, "Oh, because Salt Papi has lost, therefore he can't win." Or he it's more even, or this and that, which I think is a terrible argument.
He's lost like 3 times, bro.
Back to
like
back.
I don't know what everyone gives him so much credit, and it like angers me. Like I don't know. What do you think about it?
I think they have the memory of a goldfish. I think they just completely forgot that Deji lost to Vinny Hacker,
An 18-year-old,
yeah,
debuting.
Okay, but
TikToker, like come on, like what are we talking about here?
Okay, let's play devil's advocate. Didn't his coach Leon, if I'm not mistaken, say that Deji doesn't really train? Typically, he has won, but he's not the wins that he has, the fights that he has won, he hasn't looked 100%, or he hasn't trained 100%. Do you think maybe Vidal said that it's a 50-50 fight because if Deji were to train or go all into training and come fight night he was 100%, do you think it would be a 50-50 fight?
No. I don't. I mean, we don't even know.
Deji's at his best.
We don't even know his potential. This is the thing. They're assuming, like, they're just, he was this. If he was only training like 60% of the time and he looked that good, what if he 100% of the time? You're assuming. You don't actually know. There's no real evidence that he's gonna look that much better at 100% trained. The only thing he's probably gonna look better in is his gas tank. besides that, you're not gonna. His skill isn't gonna rise exponentially because he trains one more day out of the week. The thing is, with boxing, it takes forever to actually improve. You have to put hours and hours in the gym, and a guy like Deji, as unmotivated and undisciplined as he is, I don't believe even with an extra day of training, he's gonna make up for all the years that he wasn't training. So I don't believe so. I think he's still going to look bad. I think Salt Papi would completely demolish him. And even I'm surprised Vidal Riley says that, because usually he has some really good picks. Honestly, he says, he keeps it real, like he says. I think that's one of his sayings, the realest YouTube channel. And he does. He does keep it real a lot, But with this one, he missed a lot. I mean, Salt Papi knows what he's doing in the ring. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
guys. Like,
he has balls.
He has power. He's southpaw.
Oh, they're both southpaw.
Deji
southpaw too. Yeah. But he moves well. He actually moves well. Unlike Deji, Deji doesn't really move that well.
In my opinion, better IQ than Deji. Then again, you could also make the argument that Salt Papi's opponents, his wins haven't been against the best. I mean, he fought against Halal Ham, and he beat in Halal Ham. Now he's just one of the worst influencer boxers. That
was his first fight.
Yeah,
so we can give him some slack.
And then Andy Worski.
Knocked him out in like 13 seconds.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And then
that was devastating.
But like Andy, I mean, when you look at it now, like Andy Worski shouldn't have been in the ring with Salt Papi. And then Josh Bruckner, which people, I'll give him props for the Bruckner fight, because that was an MMA fight considered to be the boogeyman. During that time,
and super big.
He was big.
He's tall.
You
see
him?
6'2",
6'2", and he's jacked.
Yeah. And the thing is, he made him mentally quit.
Yeah, he did,
because he kind of gotten up from that knockdown, but he refused to get up. I think he was just embarrassed. He just didn't want to be in there anymore. I'll give him major credit for that one. But I mean, people were gonna say, "Oh, what about Halal Ham and Andy Worski? How are they better than Fuzi and Swarms?" What would you say to that?
I would say that Salt Papi showed, first of all, the first fight, the debut, I'll cut him some slack. That I don't even think that should be mentioned. That's his first fight. He was like super big,
but he looked really good though,
and he still looked good. You know what I'm saying?
Comfortable.
Comfortable.
Well, that's what got him the recognition.
Exactly. Yeah. But what I'll say specifically about that Warsaw fight.
Warsaw.
What is that in Poland, right? Poland. Yeah. I said it. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's a city. But what I'll say about that fight is Salt Papi showed that he's levels above these guys. In 13 seconds, just like that, he took him out of there. He showed that he has, not only does he have power, but he has IQ. He was throwing a lot of feints in that fight, if you look at it, and his punch selection is very well. He showed that he's not just like these guys. It took him that quick to show he's all the way up here. With Deji, it took him like 3 rounds to knock out Fuzi too. It wasn't. He couldn't really do it like that. His punch selection wasn't that great. All that type of stuff. So I think it shows that he was put against some guys that were lower level, but he brushed them aside like nothing, and that's what you should be looking at. He just brushed it aside like it's nothing.
It's the results. You got to look at the results. Yeah, okay, sure. Some of the opponents that Salt Papi has fought, that they're not at his level or near his level, but I mean, if they're not at his level, he made sure that they weren't at his level.
Exactly.
So he quickly got rid of them. Deji, Swarms and against Swarms and Fuzi too. If they truly weren't at his level, he should have gotten them out of there a lot more quicker, a lot more faster. He should have looked 10 times better, 100 times better, and he didn't.
Especially with Swarms, he didn't even knock him out.
No,
it went decision.
Yeah,
and Swarms. Listen, I like Swarms. I don't have a problem with him, but he's not the greatest. If Deji was really about that, if he was really putting in that work. You imagine what Salt Papi would do to Swarms.
Demolish him.
He'd demolish him, yeah. So I think there's a big difference. I think Yeah, this fight would not be close.
Yeah, it wouldn't be close. Salt Papi would knock out Deji.
I think he'd stop him. Yeah.
It'd be a big money fight, though.
It would be.
It'd be a huge fight.
I think it's good for Salt Papi, honestly. I'd be pushing for that fight.
If I was him, because everyone's already like, oh, you lost, you got knocked out by Slim, but then he beats Deji, and like we in our consensus, Deji's not the best, but too many people's eyes, he is one of the best. Mm-hmm. So imagine Salt Papi pushes for a Deji fight, gets to the Deji fight, beats him, knocks him out. Imagine his stock is gonna rise once again. Mm-hmm. The hype train is back.
Mm-hmm. But here's the thing: I don't think Deji would go anywhere near in the ring for Salt Papi.
Deji hasn't fought a quality opponent. I mean Mayweather.
I forgot.
He fought Mayweather.
I completely forgot about that.
But then again, Deji looked like he didn't. He was scared.
But people still give him credit for that fight because he gave him a black eye.
Hey, bro.
This is the thing.
Who else has given Floyd Mayweather a black eye?
Dude,
tell me.
It was the fucking tape around Deji's glove. It wasn't even a punch, dude.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing. They're so. Oh my god.
You sound like a hater, bro.
Yeah, I do.
Give Deji the credit he deserves.
Maybe
bro.
I am a hater. Hey, I'll accept it.
But yeah, so Deji and Salt Papi is a debate that people are now starting to kind of bring into life, and hopefully it gets made. The possibility is very low, mainly because from Deji's side, his whole team and whatnot. But no, yeah. So I guess that was a little thing I wanted to talk about because I saw a lot of debate and talk about a potential fight or a what if fight between them two. I think we covered everything that we wanted to cover. So what do you guys think about Teofimo Lopez? Is he still an elite fighter, or is he washed up now, guys? Come on, be honest. Wallahi. What are you guys' thoughts about Devin Haney though and Ryan Garcia? Is that actually a good fight, a 50-50, or do you agree with me with the fact that it's a mismatch? Okay, guys. And lastly, if you're in the influencer side, do you guys like the whole interim for the lightweight tournament? Or wait, I just completely butchered that. The lightweight tournament. Are you guys a big fan of the interim belt that's gonna be introduced for the winner who gets a shot at Dean? Let us know down below. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. It helps us out a lot, as well as join our Discord. It is the first link down in the description below. Help us grow the community so we can continue interacting with you guys. And lastly, I think, this was the Last Round podcast. You had me, Pablo, and I am with Rudo and Asa. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.